welcome to Two Girls in Seoul podcast. Two Girls in Seoul is a podcast I created. My name is Josie and I am newly turned 30 years old and I'm from Sweden. I got the idea for this podcast nearly 2 years ago. I think it's been over 2 years maybe. It was originally going to be me and my close friend Hattie. You might know her from the YouTube channel Jin and Hattie. And we were going to just do a podcast where we would talk about being girls in Korea. And that's how we came up with the name, or I came up with the name Two Girls in Seoul, because we were both living in Seoul at the time. Now, I don't live in Seoul anymore. And I'm also hosting this podcast alone because Miss Ma'am Hattie is a very busy girl, and it was just not the right timing for her to join me as a co-host. She didn't have enough time to invest into it, so she will be on as a guest sometime, and she's my biggest supporter, so I love her so much. But she thought that I could do this on my own, and hopefully that will stand to be true. I have lived in Korea since 2019 now. And the first time I came to Korea was in 2015. And I have a lot of experiences living in Korea on different visas and just finding a way to make Korea work for me. As someone who is not a native English speaker, there is certainly way less options than a native English speaker because we cannot just become English teachers. So it's not that easy for someone who isn't a native speaker to settle down in Korea and find a job. Now, I will obviously talk about these experiences as I have different types of guests on, and I'll share my experiences as well as asking them about theirs, because I find it so interesting to talk to other foreigners in Korea and just hear about their stories. Like, how did they solve the visa issue? How did they overcome all of these things? And that is something that you don't hear about a lot. You might see YouTubers in Korea, but they only share, or they mostly share, the really good parts and the really bad parts. There's not a lot of just genuine conversations about what everyday life is like and what we love about this country, what we don't like so much about this country. There's just so many things we can talk about, and every single person, even if they have the same visa, they're the same age, same skin color, same ethnic background, same religion, they could have totally different experiences of life in Korea. And I think that's why I really wanted to make this podcast, to really put a spotlight on how different life can be for someone who moves here and what you should be expecting if you as a listener are thinking of moving to Korea in the future. It would be good for you to kind of have an idea of what life would actually be like, and just hear from people who are thinking about staying in Korea forever and people who just see it as a temporary thing to do while they're still young. I want to have a range of different guests, and I'm working really hard to try to invite them and have them on the podcast. I'm just filming this in my house right now. So I really hope that we can grow this community and I'll be able to expand and improve on the podcast and really invite amazing, interesting guests that have experiences that might be relatable to you or not relatable to you. Maybe something you never expected to hear from someone who live here. I just want to hear all the different types of stories. So if you, as a listener, is someone who lives in Korea and you feel like you have your own unique story, or even if it's just a regular story, if you want to come on the podcast and talk about Korea with me, I would love to have you on. Please contact me on Instagram at Two Girls in Seoul, or pop up by our website at twogirlsinseoul.com, where I just have basic information where you can find me on other platforms, basically. But yeah, the website is a work in progress, but I am proud of it. I have designed and coded it all on my own because I am a software developer. I didn't want to let those skills go to waste, so I have built the website from scratch on my own. And now the podcast is not going to be like perfect quality off the bat, but I have a lot of ideas and a lot of ways I want to expand. And if you want to help me do that, then I would please suggest that you visit our Patreon and maybe consider subscribing. It's really going to help expand the podcast. I really want to rent a studio in Seoul to film these in. I want to be able to pay my guests. I want to eventually get an editor so we can get out better content, both for Patreon behind the scenes vlog, but also for just in general. I really want to put out really high quality shorts that I take as like excerpts from the vlog. I want to upgrade my equipment because right now I'm using a Blue Yeti, but I want to have an actual studio mic. I want to upgrade the camera. I really want to make this into something really special, and just with your guys' help, that's the only way I'll be able to achieve that. But even if we stay in this like kind of low-key budget setting, I'm fine with that too, because I just want to share women in Korea's voices. I want, life in Korea to be talked about more. I want to hear the stories. I want to hear the tea. I want to hear the bad parts, the good parts, everything. I just want to really bring this community to life, and hopefully you guys can come along on the journey. So yeah, this is basically what this podcast is going to be about: celebrating women in Korea and hearing about experiences and sharing everything, crushing your K-drama dreams. Thank you so much for tuning into this pilot episode. I hope you had fun listening, and I really am excited to get started properly. There will be a new episode every Sunday with a new guest, with a different background, different face, obviously, because they're not going to be the same people. But yeah, a new person every week. And I'm going to be doing these chatty type of interviews with them, sharing my experiences, hearing theirs, comparing. Yeah, it's just going to be a lot of fun. So please stay tuned. Favorite us on your podcast platform of choice. And I hope to really grow this community, and follow us on Instagram as well at 2 Girls in Seoul. And I hope to see you in the next episode, which is going to be the first official full episode. I actually filmed it right before I filmed this one. And Waida, who is the guest, is so lovely, and it's a banger. So please tune in for that one. The video is going to be a little bit scuffed because I wasn't able to check the angle, but it will improve as we move on, as I get more experiences and know what works and what doesn't. But yeah, I'm so excited for this. So I will see you in the next episode. Or you will hear me in the next episode. Bye-bye. This was Josie from 2 Girls in Seoul.